Hello, and welcome to my video on cyanotypes. Before we get started, I want to tell you just a little bit about cyanotypes. Cyanotypes are a photographic printing process that produce prints in a cyan blue color, like the images you're seeing right now. Cyanotypes use the power of the sun and iron salt solutions to produce the print. Okay, now let's get started. First, you want to find an image you want to use for your cyanotype. I chose a fleur-de-lis. Once you choose your image, print it and cut it out. You need to cut it out as precise as you can so you don't get extra shapes on your cyanotype. Next, you want to start collecting all of your materials. Grab some watercolor paper. I cut mine in half just because my image wouldn't take up the entire paper. Now, grab the chemicals you will be combining. Part A is called potassium ferrocyanide, and Part B is called ferric ammonium cyrate. Here are all of the materials you will be needing aside from the paper and chemicals. 2 graduated cylinders, a regular beaker, a paintbrush, and a glass stir stick. Once you have all of your materials collected, we are ready to start. We want to begin by mixing our chemicals first. Pour 10 milliliters of each chemical into separate graduated cylinders. Once you measure out the chemicals, pour them each into the beaker and stir them well. When you feel the chemicals are combined, grab your paintbrush and cover the watercolor paper with the mixture. After you've painted the paper, put it in a dark spot for about 5 minutes for the chemicals to soak. Once 5 minutes has passed, remove the paper from the dark spot and grab your object you printed out and position it on the soaked watercolor paper. When you have the image where you want it, you are ready to print your cyanotype. Go outside and choose a spot where the cyanotypes will get optimum sunlight. Position rocks or other heavy objects on top of both papers, but be careful you don't place them in the middle of the paper or the anchor objects will show up on your cyanotype. Leave your cyanotype outside for 15 to 30 minutes depending on how intricate your design is. If it's an outline, just like mine, it should only take about 15 to 20 minutes. While we wait for your design to process, let me tell you a little bit about what's happening outside with your cyanotype. The chemical mixture we painted on the paper earlier is light sensitive. The cyanotype emulsion is specifically sensitive to UV light like the sun. An emulsion is a mixture of 2 or more liquids in which one is present as droplets of microscopic or ultramicroscopic size distributed throughout the other. Now that that's out of the way, we can move on to the final step of our cyanotype printing process. Once you have waited a few minutes, go get your cyanotype from outside. You will notice the UV light made the chemical mixture turn to a darker cyan color. Our final step is to rinse the cyanotype. To do this, you need 2 buckets, one filled with water and one filled with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide mixed in. Remove your negative from the paper and then rinse the paper in the water as shown. Then in the bucket with water and hydrogen peroxide, then back in the water. Once you've rinsed your cyanotype, let it dry for 5 minutes or so. And then, voila! You have your finished and super pretty chemistry project. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you learned a little something about chemistry and cyanotypes.